So let me take you into something very sacred. It's not a technique, not a concept, but a knowing, a divine knowing. Because in his final days, Neville Goddard stopped teaching manifestation the way most people understood it previously. Because he was no longer talking about scenes or affirmations or even states of sleep. He was instead revealing something much deeper and something final, a truth so radical and so quietly absolute, it ends the game. And it all came down to two words: I am. Now I know you've heard those words before. Maybe you've even repeated them in affirmations. Maybe you've studied them in scripture. However, Neville's final lecture presented the way of using I am in a much different way. Because previously, he had used I am to get something. But in this lecture, I am was about remembering what you already are. And that changes everything. Now, Neville's final lecture was in October of 1972, and this would be his final public talk. Now, this lecture was titled, God and I Are One. He spoke not like a man using theory, but like someone who had finished the journey, someone who had tasted union, and someone who had returned from the illusion of separation and brought back one simple message. In the words of Neville, when you say, I am, you are not speaking as a man. You are speaking as God. And when he said this, he was not trying to convince anyone. He wasn't asking you to believe him. He was telling you, gently but immovably, that your awareness of being is the only God there is. And he meant this quite literally. So let's be clear. What Neville Goddard revealed in that final lecture was not a new manifestation hack. It wasn't something you add to your morning routine. It was instead a spiritual transmission, an invitation into remembrance of who you are. He didn't say, use I am to get what you want. Instead, he quite plainly said, I am is the name of God, and that name lives in you. So every time you say, I am, you are not merely describing your state. You are declaring your identity. And your identity, your assumption of self, is the creative center of your universe. So let's return back to scripture for a moment, not from dogma, but from mysticism. I am that I am. Exodus 3:14. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Those aren't metaphors. They are direct transmissions. When Moses asked God for a name, the answer was not a title. It was a verb, a state of being. I am. And Neville was saying, you have been using this name your whole life without knowing it. So every time you say, I am tired, I am broke, I am unwanted, I am a failure, you are not describing a condition. You are invoking a creation. Because the world doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you believe yourself to be. And this is the part that most people miss. I am is not just sacred language. It's a cosmic lever. It is the access point between form and formless. It's not the beginning of a sentence. It's the beginning of creation. Before there was light, before there were stars, before any name or face or law, there was I am. That's why when you use it unconsciously, you create unconsciously. I am stuck. I am unlucky. I am just not one of the chosen ones. These are not casual statements. They are spiritual contracts, declarations made in the divine voice. You don't need to shout them. You don't even need to believe them long. The moment these words pass through your awareness, they start sculpting your world. And here's the mystery Neville hinted at. You cannot speak the words I am without invoking God. The ego thinks it's being descriptive, when really it's casting spells. Every self-depreciating joke, every casual complaint, it all echoes back in form. Because the universe doesn't filter your sarcasm. It just quietly obeys. But once you realize this, once you become deliberate, everything shifts in your favor. Because you stop speaking from circumstance and start speaking from authority. Not from fear, but from the throne. So the real question isn't, how do I manifest? The real question is, what are you allowing yourself to be? Because whatever follows I am is already becoming flesh. You see, you are not just a passive observer. You are a living transmitter. Every moment, with every thought, every I am, you are broadcasting a frequency into the quantum field. And that field, like a perfect mirror, responds with precision. You don't even have to try. You don't have to force. You are already transmitting constantly. So the question is, what signal are you sending? Fear? Doubt? Power? Divine certainty? Your state is the broadcast, and your world is the reception. That's why when Neville said, "You are God," he was not being poetic. He was being literal. Because you are the signal. You are the source. And the moment you become conscious of the energy you're emitting, you reclaim your role as the author, not the echo, of your reality. So many people wonder, why isn't it working? They visualize, they script, they journal, they say affirmations. But deep down, they still believe they are separate from God, separate from power, separate from the version of themselves who already has it. And that separation is the only thing that needs to be revised. Now, Neville Goddard said, to be conscious of being poor while praying for riches is to be rewarded with what you are conscious of being, poverty. So you can't manifest love while identifying as unworthy. You cannot manifest money while assuming lack. You can't manifest healing while affirming brokenness. Because the universe isn't following your words, it's following your state. And your state flows directly from what you declare after I am. So here's the core of Neville's final message. You are not manifesting by effort. You are manifesting by identity. The I am in you is God. And God never hopes. God never waits. God never wishes. God declares. God says, "Let there be light," and light appears. God doesn't say, "Maybe one day, if I'm good enough, I'll earn some light." And neither should you. When you sit in the silence and say, I am, you are not performing a technique. You are remembering the only truth that ever existed. You and God are not two. You and your desire are not two. You and the power to fulfill it are one. So the big question is, how do you apply this? Well, it begins in stillness. So no more chasing, no more searching. Instead, find a quiet place. Allow your body to relax. Let the mind soften. And then speak these words. I am. Say them slowly, deliberately, not with strain, but with reverence. Let them echo through your chest. Let them drop below the noise. And then say nothing else. Just be in the I am. Because you are not trying to become anything. You are not asking for a sign. You are sitting in the throne of your own awareness. And it is enough. Stay there for as long as you can. Let the sacred simplicity rewire you. Allow the silence to speak louder than your old stories and beliefs. And before you add anything else, before you reach for another word, remember this. I am is not language. It is divinity, embedded in sound. Those two words were given to you, not as affirmations, but as creation tools, etched into your soul by Source itself. So when you say them, you're not speaking as someone trying to become worthy. You're speaking as the force that declares worth into existence. And the most radical thing, you've been using them all your life, but you've been doing it carelessly and casually, sometimes even destructively. But from this moment forward, you choose differently. So let your I am become sacred again. Let it be the altar your new life is built on. Speak only what you want to become flesh. Because those two words, just those two, are all you need to turn anything around. And when it's time, when the energy shifts, then you may speak a truth. only if it comes from conviction. No more, I want to be healed, but rather, I am whole. Not, I hope for love, but I am love. Not, one day I'll have wealth, but I am wealth. Because when you speak from the I am, you are not describing a wish. You are issuing a decree. And the world must conform. So stop asking and start embodying. Because Neville said, God became man, that man may become God. Again, not metaphorically, but literally. You are not a human being trying to reach divinity. You are divinity dreaming of limitation, and you are waking up. So walk like it, talk like it. Decide that every time you say, I am, you are writing scripture onto the quantum field. And let the rest of your life be the unfolding of that truth. Now, here's a warning and an invitation, because this is not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Because the old you, the one who begged, who waited, who tried to be worthy, will try to come back. You will be tempted to check the mirror, check your bank account, check your messages. But that's not who you are anymore. You are no longer asking for signs. You are the sign. You are no longer watching for proof. You are the proof. You are no longer affirming to become. You are affirming to express. So let this be the end of seeking. If you take one thing from Neville's final lecture, let it be this: there is no separation between you and God. There is no distance between you and your desire. There is only awareness, assumption, identity, and everything else is illusion. So the manifestation game ends here. Not because you've mastered the method, but because you've remembered who you are. From now on, let every I am you speak be sacred. Let it be deliberate. Let it be true. Because the moment you say, I am, you are not just declaring reality. You are creating it. So before you sleep tonight, speak these words in stillness. I am. Then pause. Breathe. Let it fill the space. Then, if it feels true, add one statement, one identity. I am chosen. I am healed. I am already what I once sought. Then, fall asleep in that knowing. Do not beg. Do not plead. Do not hope. Just be. And let your breath carry it into your cells. Let your dreams begin from that place. Because in the silence, something will shift immediately, and by the morning, your world will begin to echo it. Not because you did something, but because you remembered. This is the revelation Neville Goddard left behind. Not a new trick, not a secret formula, just the final truth. God and I are one. I am, and that is enough. Now let's move on to something even bigger. It's about overflow, saturation, a life where miracles, love, wealth, vitality, and power, well, they're not rare, they're inevitable. So if you're done settling, I do offer private one-on-one coaching to activate your highest timeline at the root. We won't just tweak your habits, we'll dismantle the old self, the one who loops in scarcity, the one who waits and begs, and we will rebuild something untouchable. Now, this is deep, nervous system level work. This is not for dabblers. But if your whole body knows you were born for much more than you are currently living, then you already feel the pull. Click the link below to apply. Because your dream life isn't just something you chase, it's something you become. I've also left a link below if you wish to read Neville's final lecture in its entirety. And don't forget to subscribe. You don't want to miss my next video. I'll be releasing something huge and life-changing. Now up next is my video on the one shift that unlocks everything. It'll tell you why, when your desires feel stuck, even when you think you're doing all the right things, why it's still not working. You'll learn how to stop chasing and how to step into the version of you who already has it. And you will watch the world reflected back to you. So go watch it now, click here, and jump right in.